Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moneytalk Fireside Chat. I'm your host, Teresa McGarry, and in this episode, we're going to delve a little bit into our financial stewardship program, specifically talking about the budgeting workshop as we hosted in the schools. Budgeting is the most requested workshop that we get from schools. It is also our most expensive workshop. In a nutshell, the students use the candy paycheck to learn budgeting basics. The funding for this workshop comes primarily from donations and grants. Middle schools and high schools are not charged at all for the workshop. Colleges pay $10 per student, the same as if we were doing it within a nonprofit. Students receive a legal-sized piece of paper. This is their budget form here, and there are different categories of things that they can spend their money on, and within each category there is a suggested list of items that might be included along with some prices. There are some things such as clothing, spending cash, groceries where there's no dollar amount included. Students are required to have a place to live. They're required to have renter's insurance if they have an apartment, because renters will require it. We also talk about the auto insurance if they choose to buy a car. They have to have a way to get to work and school. They have to have utilities. They have to have food to eat. And if they need clothes to be appropriate for work or school, that's required as well. Otherwise, everything else is their own choice. We always have to have a short discussion with the boys that you cannot spend $50 for an entire month of groceries. It just doesn't work. So the candy paychecks. The individually wrapped candies are in a bigger bag. Starbursts are typically worth $100, Tootsie Rolls worth $50 in our game. The unwrapped candies, which is usually either M&Ms or Skittles, are in a separate bag, and that's just to try and keep everything clean. Then we put that snack size bag in the bigger bag so that we have one combo bag for the candy paycheck. During the game, the first thing the students do is they place their money or their candy on the budget form according to whatever their choice is. So do they want a one-bedroom apartment, a two-bedroom with a roommate, without a roommate? Do they want to have streaming services? All of that kind of stuff. They get to choose and put it on there. Down here in this lower left-hand corner, this is William Joel College. I was asked to give them a bigger monthly paycheck than what I do for the high school students. So to make it easier for me, I had used different candies. We had Airheads and Jolly Ranchers in addition to the M&Ms and Skittles. The Tootsie Rolls and Starburst work better because of their physical size on the paper, by the way. The Wyandotte High School that's in here in the upper right, they're using the high school candy paycheck. This right here is a picture of Moneytalk Academy, which is our 6-week adult financial literacy program where we have 6 weeks focused on a particular skill. And in here we were talking that particular evening up to the parents about how to teach the basics of budgeting to their children. And so we were going over the game with them. This is a picture of Truman High School. They brought multiple classes in at once, so we had anywhere from 24 to 137 in a particular class. We were 400 to 500 that one day, so it's a little bit tricky. Anyway, after the students put their candy on their paycheck, on their budget form, excuse me, then we start paying the bills. And we have to talk about what a need is versus what a bill is. And they take the money physically off the piece of paper as that bill is paid, so that way they can see this is how much money they have left. That simulates the bill being paid and the money being spent. And then we discuss discretionary income or disposable income and how that's the money that they have the most control over on a monthly basis for getting things done that they want to get done. We have unexpected things happen, and sometimes they have to move money from other categories in order to pay that unexpected bill. At the end of each of the budgeting workshops, we have the students complete a survey to find out what they learned, what they liked, and what they're going to do different going forward. And typically we hear things such as things cost more than they thought, it's a real eye-opener. They really, really, really like the fact that they can all have different answers and they can all be right. That's something that doesn't normally happen in a school project. If there is time, which some classes may be an hour and a half long, some are just 45 minutes long. Some groups of kids get through the money allocation piece very quickly. Others take more like 45 minutes to get it figured out. So we have a few things in our back pocket ready to go in the event that they get done quickly or it's a longer class, where we talk about common questions. How do I stick to my budget? What are the things that I need to be aware of that are going to break my budget? What do I do if I've got extra money? Like my job is something where I get tips, so I don't always get the same amount. Things like that. So there's opportunities for you to become a sponsor of this workshop. Like I said, we don't charge the schools for anything, and that is by far the most common activity that we do. Most classes have about 30 students in them, and we do anywhere from 2 to 3 in a given day when we're asked to do this. So 60 kids, 90 kids, up to 100 kids in a day, unless it's like an independent school district, in which case it's somewhere between 400 and 600 students in a given day. So we need funds to cover the different pieces of candy, the Ziploc bags, as well as food safe, non-latex gloves, so that when we're working with and counting out the M&Ms and the Skittles, that we can help make sure that we're keeping all the food as clean as possible. We also need volunteers because it takes a lot of time to count out all of those pieces of candy. In some of the classes, it's very helpful to have a volunteer or two in there to be wandering around and helping the students, because some of them have, even though we've taken as much math out of it as possible, they either don't get the concept, they're struggling with English. A lot of times they weren't paying attention to instructions, so we have to re-explain. Sometimes they just struggle counting out the money, and we have Tootsie Rolls worth $50, Starburst worth 100, M&Ms are worth 5. So we've kept the math part of it as simple as possible, but for some of the students, it's still quite a struggle. And then we can have even more of these budgeting workshops if there's more than just me teaching them. So there's another volunteer opportunity as well. So that's the basics of the budgeting workshop that we do in the area schools. Let us know what else you'd like to know about. Hope you've enjoyed this episode and hope to see you again. Thank you much.